The mailbox on Red Clay Road, I forwarding after her mother's funeral. Tessa O'Rourke forwarded her mail to a P.O. box in Carlisle and told herself she was done with Lock Haven. But grief is a clerk with a sense of humor. A week later, a small brass key arrived at her Carlisle box with a tag that read Red Clay Road. The handwriting was her mother's. Tessa hadn't been on Red Clay Road in 15 years. The mailbox stood at the edge of a field, tilted like it had learned to listen. The house it belonged to had burned when Tessa was 16, and the county had called it electrical because sometimes nouns are easier than names. The field was now a neat rectangle of soybeans that pretended not to know where walls had been. The key fit. Inside, letters, dozens, all addressed in a dozen hands to the woman in the red clay house or just the woman who answers. Postmarks from 1973 to 2009, some stamped return to sender, some stained with kitchen grease and perfume. On top, a note in her mother's hand open when you can listen. The letters. They were admissions and apologies and maps you could fold wrong. A cheerleader wrote in 1989, I saw the lights go out. I didn't shout. A nurse wrote in 1974, they told me to tell her to wait. I said, okay, I haven't slept. A boy wrote in 2004, I drove, I didn't stop. A pastor wrote in 1992, we have agreed to be charitable in silence. At the bottom, a letter to Tessa, undated. When the mailbox hums, don't answer, count instead. Write down what you hear. The red clay keeps names. So do you. 3. The hum at 7-Eleven, Tessa heard it. A low note in the mailbox, not metal on metal, not bee, not truck. A hum in the keyhole that made the hair on her arm stand like grass, obeying weather. She held the brass key and felt the vibration travel into bone. The hum stopped. The lid popped open on its own. A new letter lay inside, warm like bread. Operator? IV, the root. The post office clerk in town, Ruth, who'd once cut Tessa's hair in her kitchen and told her to stop apologizing for wanting out, looked at the envelopes and didn't pretend surprise. We used to forward to that box, she said. People addressed things they couldn't say to a person. Your mother checked it Thursdays. She brought me lemon bars when the stack got mean. Who told them to write? Tessa asked. Girls who'd been told not to speak, Ruth said. Nurses, night clerks, people who answer lines after 7. Via. The ask. The hum came nightly, the letters multiplied in honest ways, 2, then 5, then a dozen, as if the road had learned where to place the weight of confession. Men wrote without names, women signed everything. A teen scribbled, my step, and then drew a box around the word and wrote over it, myself. Tessa bought binders and plastic sleeves and a receipt book because admin is a form of love. Walter from the county parked his truck by the field and leaned on the hood. We've had concerns, he said gently. People are nervous about old mail, chain of custody, ethics. Ethics is chain of custody, Tessa said. Who gets to hold the names? Zixio, the map. An old plat map from the library showed Red Clay Road with 5 houses where there was now 1. Pencil marks crossed 4. In the margin, a hand had written floodplain, then crossed it out and wrote women's names. Mr. Halpern at the library shrugged. People like to put water where they put women, he said. Call it natural, save on paperwork. Tessa pinned the map inside the mailbox lid with blue tape. She added a schedule, to 7 p.m., reading aloud, set 10 a.m. binders. The field got used to visitors who brought lawn chairs and thermoses, and the particular bravery of showing up without being asked. Denry's citizen, the pastor Nolan Pike, arrived with a smile tilted by worry and a letter in italics. We must move forward, he said. These letters' private pain should not be theater. Private pain became theater the day you installed a stage, Tessa said, nodding toward the church's new light rig visible from the road. We're doing records. She handed him a copy of his own 1992 note about charitable silence. He glanced, folded it, and stuck it in his pocket like a receipt for a purchase he meant to return. Bait the night. The letters answered. On a warm evening that flirted with storm, Tessa opened the box and found a cassette tape. A label in block letters, 11:14. She dug out her mom's old Walkman and pressed play. Humming, then a voice. Operator? She hit record on her phone and held both to her ear like time could be forced into cooperation. The tape played, breathing and names and crying not performed. She typed like she was taking vitals. People gathered by the field edge, quiet the way a classroom is when a teacher finally asks the right. The tape ended with a click that felt like a door. Tessa added the transcript to the binder. Not Chumino. The county. The county sent a letter budget language dressed as threat. The postmaster forwarded a memo about unofficial receptacles. Walter sighed in a parking lot voice and brought Tessa a heavier mailbox. County surplus, as if infrastructure could be a compromise. She kept the small one. She mounted the big one behind it like a shield. Someone put flowers in the shield slot. The ass comes to a head. A girl in a jacket too thin walked up the road at 10:40, dress shoes in hand, mascara making maps. They say I'm making a scene, she said, sitting on the grass. Okay, it's my scene. She handed Tessa a letter addressed to the woman who answers. Inside, 3 names. 2 were boys, 1 was hers. Read them? She asked. Do you want me to? Yes. Tessa stood on the tailgate of her car and read the names. The soybeans shifted in the wind like people nodding. The mailbox hummed its small, stubborn note. Keys shook. The girl exhaled. Thank you, she said, like oxygen. After Tessa scanned every letter and handed copies to the library and the resource center and the reporter from Harrisburg who didn't ask stupid questions, she left a stack of stamped envelopes in the box with a sign, "Right back." People did. The binders grew. The field became a place you brought people when you needed to say a name in air and hear it stay said. When she drove back to Carlisle, Tessa kept the brass key on her ring. At 7-Eleven some nights, her apartment's empty towel bar would hum, ridiculous and true. She'd open the hall closet, no phone, and say, "Operator, I'm here," the way you practice a song so you don't forget the words.